The Knicks just finished playing their last preseason game last night against the Washington Wizards, and I'm here to talk to you about some takeaways I had about the game and also the upcoming season. All that and much more on this episode of the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel, and before we move on to today's video, I want to remind you guys to smash that subscribe button if you guys want to be up to date about the most recent coaches' remarks about particular players, about all-season workouts, about injury report. This is the place to be. This is the channel to follow. So smash that subscribe button and stay tuned to the channel. All right, for today's video, I want to get right into it, and I want to talk about some takeaways I had about last night's game and also about the upcoming season. So the first player we're going to be talking about, yes, Mitchell Robinson. We're going to be talking about the big man. We're going to be talking about the defensive anchor for the New York Knicks. The guy that Quentin Grimes said he might be the most important guy on the team. Now, watching last night's game, especially when Mitchell Robinson was at the free throw line, Mike Breen and Wally Zerbiak, they were talking about how Mitchell Robinson focused on the offseason about shooting his free throws. They said how Mitchell Robinson tried to focus on shooting the free throws as if it's not a line drive and putting more arc on the ball whenever he's shooting the ball. Now, the reason why I bring up Mitchell Robinson is because if we take a look at his free throw percentages from his rookie season, which I believe was in 2018-2019, let's take a look. Free throw attempts in his rookie year, he averaged 2, and he hit 60% of them. The next season, 2.5, 56, and now, as you can see, 1.7 his junior season, hitting at a 49% clip. 2 seasons ago was 2.5 free throw attempts at 48%, and last season was 2.1 at 48%. The reason why I bring this up is because if Mitchell Robinson can take that leap into being a trustworthy free throw shooter, Coach Tibbs would more than likely leave him in the lineup whenever there is 3-4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, because unfortunately what NBA teams like to do is when they know that a particular player can't shoot free throws, they are gonna attempt and pull a hack-a-Shaq. But in this place, it'll be a hack a Mitchell Robinson. If you have a 5-man lineup where every single player on the floor is a respectable free throw shooter, Coach Tibbs will be in heaven. You got the starting 5, which more than likely will end the game if Mitchell Robinson can shoot his free throws. You got Julius Randle, you got RJ, you got Brunson, you got Mitchell Robinson, and it'll probably be Quentin Grimes. All 5 of those players will be a respected free throw shooter. So that means that whoever you're fouling, you're gonna send them to the line, and they would be able to hit their free throws. Now, in my opinion, I would like to see Mitchell Robinson up those free throw attempts from 1, up to 5. And I also want him to hit them at around a 75-80% clip. Now, I understand the jump that he's going to be trying to make from 2 free throw attempts, hitting them at 45%, 50%, 60%. The jump from those percentages up to 80% will be a big one, and we're not going to see it this season, but hopefully in the next upcoming seasons, I would like to see Mitchell Robinson improve on his free throw percentage, because like I just said, if you have a 5-man lineup ending the game where everybody on the court can actually hit their free throws, and the other coaching staff cannot devise a scheme where they do a hack-a-Shaq and they just go to Mitchell Robinson and hack him in order to slow the game down, in order to increase possessions, you'll have a 5-man lineup where it'll be respectable, and Coach Tibbs will have a lot of trust in them. Mitchell Robinson right now, he is looked at as almost like a garbage man. You don't throw the ball into Mitchell Robinson and ask him to create a play. You don't throw the ball into Mitchell Robinson into the post and ask him to give you an automatic 2 points, whether if it's a jump hook, whether if it's a spin-off. Most of Mitchell Robinson's plays comes off of rebounds, come off of hustle plays. They come off of side out of bounds plays where it's a pick and roll, and next thing you know, they're throwing the lob up to Mitchell Robinson to dunk it. This is something that I've always had a gripe with NBA players. If you're in the NBA, I always believe that you should be able to have at least one significant move where you can go to. In Mitchell Robinson's case, since he's a center, I wish that he had a little bit of Patrick Ewing in his game where he posts up, you throw the ball to Mitchell Robinson, and I wish he could give you a little Georgetown baby hook. But that's not Mitchell Robinson's game. As for right now, like I just said, Mitchell Robinson is a little bit more of the garbage man, and he's more of the defensive anchor. If Mitchell Robinson can make that leap and being a trustworthy free throw shooter, is not only going to pay dividends for Mitchell Robinson himself, it'll also pay dividends for the New York Knicks team as a whole. Now, another takeaway I had from last night's game, and a very important key to this upcoming Knicks season, is the newest addition to the Knicks. And yes, I am talking about Donte Divicenzo. Donte Divicenzo is going to be a very important key to this upcoming Knicks season because in last night's game, I saw something in particular that intrigued me. I saw Coach Tibbs put the ball in Dante's hands and in order to create plays for other players. Now, if we take a step back and we see the importance of that, and we compare it to last season, Jalen Brunson had so much of the pressure of being an on-ball creator, of being an on-ball handler, that it came to a point where you could see the pressure and you could see just how much it was wearing on him, especially since Julius Randle last season, he re-injured his ankle during the first round against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then he played through it through the rest of the playoffs, and we ended up finding out that he had off-season surgery in order to fix that ankle. So Jalen Brunson now coming into this season, having somebody else take responsibility of being an on-ball creator, of being an on-ball handler, taking that pressure off of him, is gonna pay dividends in the long run. Donte Divicenzo, we all know, played with Jalen Brunson in Villanova as well as Josh Hart. The only thing that we're missing is the last head of the snake, which is Mikal Bridges. Maybe we can make that happen in the future. But Donte Divicenzo coming into this season, being another on-ball handler, being another on-ball creator, is going to help Jalen Brunson. It's going to free up the offense. In my opinion, if you have more players on the court that are able to create plays, it's going to free the offense up. You're not going to be dependent. You're not going to be so much dependent on one player creating plays for the rest of your team. If everybody is able to handle the rock, if everybody is able to create plays, which is something that we wish Julius Randle, which is something that we wish R.J. Barrett was a little bit more prone to, the offense would be a lot more free. Last season, the only other player that I can think about from the top of my head that was able to create plays was Immanuel Quickley. And Immanuel Quickley was he was more responsible in the second unit. As far as the first unit, it was a lot of it was put on Jalen Brunson's hands. And of course, we remember Immanuel Quickley went out with an ankle injury, I believe. He twisted it pretty bad and he was out. I think he injured it maybe towards the end of the Cleveland series or in the beginning of the Miami series, and he was out for the rest of the series, and we ended up losing in 6 to Miami. Before I heard that Donte Divicenzo signed with the Knicks with the offseason, I was watching the Warriors play against the Lakers, and Donte Divicenzo was actually one of the players that stood out to me. Last season, the Warriors were going through such a hellish of a season after Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole in the offseason and in practice, and then it was leaked out to the public, and we all got to see how bad of a teammate Draymond Green was. When that series ended, Steph Curry and I believe Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson, they all said how the season was pretty much a waste after Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole. So that kind of let us in as to how dysfunctional that team was throughout the whole season. What I'm trying to say is that Donte Divicenzo is actually one of the players that to me looked like he picked up the pieces. He was one of the players that Steph, Klay, and Dre could depend on as far as attacking the rim, as far as creating plays for others, as far as being a reliable player in which if Steph is not having a night, if Klay wasn't having a good night, Donte Divicenzo was going to be able to pick up the slack. And then I find out that he, in the offseason, that he signs a deal to come to the Knicks. One, it's another great piece to put alongside Jalen Brunson. Two, it's going to add to the chemistry as far as the Nova boys, where we already had Josh Hart, which we picked up last season in the midseason trade. We got Jalen Brunson. So adding Donte Divicenzo is just going to add to the chemistry, it's going to add to the camaraderie, and it's going to pay dividends in the long run. Now, the last takeaway I had from last night's game is regarding a player that the Knicks fans have a love-hate relationship with, who we were very high on, and then we were very low on. But if you guessed Julius Randle, you guessed correct. Now, Julius Randle's stint with the New York Knicks has been a bunch of highs and it's been a bunch of lows. The first season going against the Atlanta Hawks and losing in the first round, losing in 5 games, where Derrick Rose was our starting point guard. Going into the playoffs, it was definitely a high, but then losing in the first round, it became a low. And then the following season, we didn't make the playoffs, and then Julius Randle was going back and forth with the Knicks fans, doing the thumbs down. It's just the experience with Julius Randle has been a roller coaster of a ride, and we're not sure exactly what we're going to get. But the one thing that Knicks fans, we do know that Julius Randle has potential that he has not tapped into. If we take a look into Julius Randle's stats from last season's regular season compared to the playoffs. Now, again, we have to put a little bit of an asterisk because he did end up re-injuring that ankle towards the end of the Cleveland Cavaliers series and really hindered him going into the Miami Heat series. But for the regular season of last season, let's take a look at Julius Randle's stats. For the regular season, he was the leader on the team with points, averaging 25.1. He was the leader on the team for rebounds, averaging 10. Now, if we take a look into the playoffs of last season, let's take a look at his stats. We take a look into the stats of the playoffs. The points per game leader was actually Jalen Brunson with 27.8, then RJ Barrett 19.3, and then came Julius Randle with 16.6. And then if we take a look at the rebounds, Mitchell Robinson led the team with 9.3, and then it was Julius Randle. I bring up those stats to say that Julius Randle, the knock on him so far in his Knick tenure is, as far as regular season, he's going to be our guy. He's going to be our all-star. Last season, he was selected to the all-star team. A lot of Knicks fans believe Jalen Brunson should have been selected to the team. Adding Jalen Brunson to the Knicks last season was, if not the biggest reason why the Knicks had the turnaround that they did last season. But Julius Randle in the regular season, we know that he's going to put up his numbers. We know they're going to get his stats. But for the last couple seasons in the playoffs, it's been a big drop. Like I said earlier, in 2020, 2021, the first season after the bubble, Julius Randle led the Knicks to the first round in the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks. And he was the leader on the team as far as statistics, as far as scoring, as far as rebounding, as far as assists. But he ended up going from, averaging 20, 25 points, averaging to maybe 13, 16 points in the first round against Atlanta, because what the Atlanta Hawks did, they just decided to hone in on Julius Randle, create all defensive schemes on Julius Randle, make sure to shut him down, and then what happened? We ended up losing in 5. The next season, the Knicks didn't make the playoffs, and then last season, Julius Randle ends up getting hurt towards the end of the Cleveland Cavaliers playoff series, and then for the rest of the playoffs, he was a little bit hindered. At this point in time, Knicks fans, we know what to expect from Julius Randle, but at this point in time, we need to see more. We're tired of seeing Julius Randle become an all-star player in the regular season, but not really coming up big when the time counts. And when the time counts is the playoffs. We need Jalen Brunson to have a solidified number 2. And at this point, Julius Randle is not that solidified number 2. RJ Barrett, we don't know if RJ Barrett can become that solidified number 2. Last season, Jalen Brunson in the Miami Heat series, especially in Game 6, ended up having, I believe, 31 points and was single-handedly could have been the reason why we were going to force a Game 7. Julius Randle didn't show up in that game. Jalen Brunson ended up doing everything on himself, but as we all know, one man can't beat a team. Just ask Michael Jordan when he was going up against the Detroit Pistons in the late 80s. It wasn't until he had Scottie Pippen in order to get past the Detroit Pistons and then finally getting his first NBA championship. In order for the Knicks to keep moving forward, in order for the Knicks to keep growing, we need somebody else to be dependable, somebody else that Jalen Brunson can depend on whenever he's having an off night, whenever the burden is a little bit too high on him. We need somebody else to step up to the plate, whether that's Julius Randle, whether that's RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, maybe Quentin Grimes this season was willing to step up to the plate. We don't know who it is, but up until this moment, Knicks fans, we're not sure that Julius Randle is the one. Jalen Brunson is the best player on the team, but this Knicks team is only going to go as far as the number 2 goes. And as far as right now, in this moment, Julius Randle is that number 2. So Julius Randle is going to take us as far as he wants us to go. If we see another season where Julius Randle has a great regular season, but in the playoffs, his numbers start to dip as far as he's not really getting his teammates involved, he's not looking to create for others, and he's really trying to get his own. If we see more of that Julius Randle, the Knicks are going to have the exact same season as last season, or they're going to have it worse. They might get past the first round, whoever they go up against, the Cleveland Cavaliers, whether if they go against Philly, or whoever they go up against, they might get past the first round, but they're probably going to hit a roadblock in the second round. Julius Randle needs to take that next step as a number 2, as far as being one of the better players on the team. So guys, I know this has been a little bit of a lengthy video, but before we end the video, I want to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button, follow the channel for more videos, for more content, and until next time guys, I'll be signing out and we'll check you on the next video from the Knicks Digest. Peace.